Hello, welcome to Chapter 1, Fundamental Concepts. Let's talk about some characteristics of motor development. We can talk about our change in movement behavior, which consists of continuous, age-related, and sequential, and this also depends on an underlying process. Related areas of study are motor learning is relatively permanent gains in motor skills, capability associated with practice or experience, and there's also motor control, the neural, physical, and behavior aspects of movement. Some related terms are physical growth, physical maturation, and aging. Physical growth is the quantitative increase in your size or body mass. Your physical maturation is a qualitative advance in biological makeup, such as your cells, organs, or system advancement in biochemical composition, or aging, process occurring with passage of time, leading to loss of adaptability or full function and eventually to death. Identify similarities and differences between motor development and the following phenomena: motor learning, motor control, or physical growth and maturation. Figure 1 shows Newell's model of constraints. You can see this goes in a circle, goes structural and functional through task constraints and environmental constraints. The constraints is the discourage or limitation of certain movements. It can encourage or permit other movements, and the shape movement is a channel way away from some movements while towards others. There are individual constraints, unique physical, mental characteristics, which are internal. There are structural, which are related to the body structure, the height, and the muscle mass. And there are functional, related to behavioral function, attention, and motivation. Environmental constraints consist of properties of the environment, all those things on the external. Global, the physical, the gravity or surfaces, and the sociocultural, the gender roles and culture norms. Task constraints consist of specific task requirements or goals. These can be external. They're not necessarily related to the individual. Related specifically to task or skills are goal of the task, rules guiding task performance, and equipment. The interaction of constraints consists of an identity of an individual and environmental and task constraints, and it must examine interactions among constraints. What are the important individual, environmental, and task constraints in this video? Let's watch. Constraints in atypical development could be disabilities. There's differences in structural, functional of individual constraints. You must consider all interacting constraints, and they may result in delayed different motor development. Which constraints change between these two clips? Here are some research designs of motor development. Longitudinal, an individual group is observed over time, and studies that can require lengthy observation. There's also cross-sectional studies, which include individuals or groups of different ages that are observed, or changes inferred but not actually observed. Or we have sequential or mixed longitudinal, many longitudinal studies with overlapping ages. And in this figure, you can see a model of sequential research design. Why would a researcher use a longitudinal design to study motor development? Why would a researcher use a cross-sectional design to study motor development? These are some things you can look up and get from your reading. A paradox in development. Universality, which means individuals and species show great similarity in development. And then there's variability, individual differences that exist. So here's the summary of this chapter. Number 1, motor development examines continuous, sequential, age-related change in motor behavior. Number 2, can be individual, environmental, and task constraints underlie this change. And number 3, researchers use longitudinal, cross-sectional, and sequential research designs to investigate this change.